now you've come back almost 30 years later. What made you want to revisit Frankenweenie?
Well, it was looking at some of the original drawings, and I think at some point Don had mentioned the idea of it, I think, and since it was such a memory piece, like the drawings and doing stop motion and black and white and 3D, and then kind of thinking about like other kids you remember from school and weird teachers and parents and all, it just became a real memory piece, and the purity of stop motion, and like I said, for me, the idea of seeing black and white and 3D stop motion was an exciting, prospect. And then obviously being able to work with all these people that I've worked with in the past that I love, and it just made it more special.
Absolutely. As you say, Tim has worked with everybody on this panel before. I just wanted to go down the line and get everyone's memories of their first impression of Tim Burton all those years ago.
No, don't ask Martin to do it. He's too good at an impression. I have to leave the room. I
don't know.
Not literal impressions, but just what your thoughts were of Tim. Alison,
I will leave the room.
that'd be nice of you, but Tim's not here.
I just thought he was so energetic and so fascinating. So, because I worked on The Nightmare Before Christmas and so young.
On Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks. I was so thrilled to meet Tim. I was such a fan of Tim's, but what I was really excited about after my experience in Mars Attacks was how unbelievably collaborative Tim is. He's done the job. He's hired the actor. He's hired you, so the buck stops there. But he really wanted to know what you thought, and then you kind of felt free to put out anything in the atmosphere, and he would hone and refine it. It was a really an ideal working situation for an actor.
Is your first impression?
I don't do impressions.
I was called to meet Tim for Beetlejuice, and I was living in Toronto at the time, and I flew to LA, and I was told to meet him in Warner Brothers Boulevard, and that's where Warner Brothers Studio is in the executive building. But I looked it up in the LA map book, and I found a Warner's Boulevard or something in Anaheim, and I drove and drove and drove, and I was
That's way early.
I was like, I drove and drove and drove, and I thought, whoever this guy is, he is so far outside of our showbiz. It's really happening. I'm not sure I want to work with him. And then I finally phoned somebody. Had to stop at a phone booth, didn't have a cell phone, and found out that I was in the wrong place. And then finally got back there about 2 hours late, and there was a note on the door. I'm really sorry I missed you, but like I have a life. Yeah.
Nice start.
And Don, you worked with Tim years ago at Disney on Fox and the Hound and Black Hawk as well.
Yeah, I think Tim was woefully miscast on Fox and the Hound. But it was an odd time at the studio, and I think the studio didn't know what to do with Tim. And to their credit, gave him a little money to make a short called Frankenweenie and Vincent. And it was amazing because it never knew what to do with those shorts, never quite knew how to release them, didn't want to put the Disney name on them. And to come around full circle now, a few years later, and be able to revisit that and have the studio kind of support and celebrate what Tim's trying to do is